A man stood at the pearly gate. His face was scarred and old. He stood before the pearly gates for welcome to the fold. "What have you done," St. Peter asked, "to gain admission here?" "I've been a college president, sir, for many, many a year." The pearly gates swung open wide. St. Peter touched the bell. "Come in," he said, "choose your harp. You've had your time in hell." Dean Peart, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and especially graduates and your families. Only President Ayers and I can verify the accuracy of the verse just cited. But irrespective of that fact, reality today is our return for whatever long suffering may have been required to bring it all to fruition. You are the rewards of our efforts. It is indeed my privilege to share in this special occasion, to which I understand I was chosen by the students. What greater honor could you have than that? I have developed a strong friendship with Dean Peart and have great appreciation for her leadership and the strength of this institution, serving outstanding students like those of you before me this afternoon. I have watched the dynamic developments of this school from its beginning with pride, and standing before this graduating class further elevates my level of appreciation and respect for all of you who've had a part in making the Jepson Leadership School what it has become today. My presence as your speaker is unique in several ways, and I intend to capitalize upon that uniqueness. First, I suspect that my age of 88 sets me aside from most, if not all, of those facing graduating seniors this spring. Further, I doubt that there are any other World War II veterans commanding such podiums as this one. 94% of the 16 million who engaged in that conflict are deceased, and the fewer than 1 million remaining are dying at the rate of 30,000 a month. 5 years from now, most will have succumbed to old age, so you caught me just in time. Few remember what's said at such a gathering as this, but often remember who spoke. So hopefully my age, and that I am a World War II veteran who still rides a motorcycle, will afford that clue if eating in my dining room for 4 years isn't adequate. Age also might suggest that I should address you while sitting down, and if not, you may want to stay awake just to see whether I'm still standing when I finish. Today, some 71 years after joining the Marine Corps at age 17, I am the national spokesperson for the Greatest Generation Foundation, and as such, I represent veterans living and dead who laid their lives on the line for their country. You who are before me this time are the descendants of that generation. Your fathers and mothers are their children. Representing your grandfathers, your great-uncles, and all your predecessors who served in World War II, I want to share some of my story as representative of the many who fought in that conflict. I have titled my address, "You May Not Know Where You're Going Till You Get There, so don't be surprised if you end up someplace else." We of my era lived under circumstances which made truth out of this descriptive title. My life history, like many others of my generation, was determined more by circumstance than by design. For many, life became a process of walking through doors as they opened and discovering pathways incidental to conditions dictated by the realities of history. From the beginning of my journey from a high school failure to the presidency of a college and a university evolved as a stream of events carried me from one unanticipated result to another. I grew up in a tenant house on a dairy farm where my father was a sharecropper. He dropped out of school at age 12 to help his mother support his 2 younger brothers and a sister after his father lost the farm to creditors during the Great Depression, committed suicide. The tenant house had no permanent foundation. Rocks were spaced on which the supporting timbers were placed, leaving plenty of openings for the cold winds of winter to enter and the wind to wind their way through cracks in the floor to keep the house well air-conditioned and cold. There was no radio or television or refrigerator or washing machine. We cooked on a stove heated by wood and carried an oil lamp to light our way from room to room. Because the upstairs was a converted attic, we 4 children slept under a hot tin roof. My father's $30 a month didn't have to cover the cost of electricity or gas or water or telephone. None of these were available. Our refrigerator was a deep well in which to lower milk and food to keep it cool and preserved. We raised our vegetables and meat and made do with chickens and eggs from the backyard. We hunted and ate squirrels and rabbits. On Saturday night, we bartered extra eggs for groceries at the county seat, where only occasionally for 15 cents I would have the luxury of seeing a movie. My parents weren't privileged to attend high school, but were very much self-educated leaders in the church and the community. There was no one I knew until I was grown who had been to college, except the preacher, who was a struggling seminary student because the church couldn't afford a full-time regular minister. In this setting, there was little expectation for children growing up to do anything than to perpetuate the life around them. I could, however, observe trucks passing on the dusty highway and visualize how wonderful it would be to become a truck driver. Having to wake at 4 in the morning to milk 12 or 15 cows and to labor in the hot summer sun in tobacco and corn was not what I envisioned as a desirable future. So with that background to guide my ambitions, I saw no reason to do more than I had to in school, so I made up for my lost sleep while doing a man's job, milking cows at 4 a.m. every morning. Thus, I failed algebra twice and did so poorly otherwise, I didn't qualify for a diploma after 4 years. With a background such as this, how could I have spent my entire adult life in the profession of higher education as a senior officer, including 21 years as president of a college and a university? It all resulted from a happenstance in history. Some might call it fate. Others might interpret it as divine providence, but surely it was unplanned, unexpected, and unpredictable. When World War II intervened, I joined the Marines after the high school principal suggested that they could do me more good than high school. I landed on the beach of Okinawa in combat at age 18. Following that battle, I served in the occupation of Japan, where I walked in the ashes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, unaware of the presence of risk of radiation. After promotion to sergeant at age 20 and completing my enlistment, I now realize that the GI Bill afforded an unusual opportunity for an education. I applied to a senior college, where I discovered that I didn't qualify for admission. Because of my abysmal high school record, I had to settle for a small, unheralded junior college, where for the first time I made good grades and graduated with a 3.8 average and was elected the best all-around male student. Here I met and married my wife in my freshman year and fathered 6 children before finishing graduate school. I was now beginning my long journey in higher education, which over the next 60 years would carry me to every functional position in the profession. That little junior college provided the most important educational experience of my life. Here I was given the chance to make up for my years of squandered opportunity. It was here that I received a solid foundation in my classwork. But equally important, I learned that success in life is determined by the character of the journey. Success by impeccable and rigid standards and an unwillingness to settle for anything less than enduring principles. With new confidence in myself, I entered Peabody College, now part of Vanderbilt University. Following completion of a master's degree and 2 years in public accounting, I was employed by the college that had turned me down as a student to become the second highest paid person next to the president. I was the chief financial officer at age 28 at that institution. So what is my point? It is that anyone can be anything they set their mind to be if circumstances are conducive, even if they had something else in mind. So don't be surprised, as I was, if you end up somewhere else, a place other than you presently anticipate. According to Taylor Caldwell, the purpose of education is to enlarge the soul, to widen the mind, to stimulate wonder, to excite the intellect, and to awaken dormant facilities for the exaltation of the possessor. Plutarch said, a mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited. So as seen in the context of these definitions, education is exciting, inspiring, stimulating, and exalting. I'm here today after 43 years because I enjoy the life of the campus and of the mind. I continue to engage in youthful things like riding my Harley, while remembering that age is only a place on the calendar. Yet I seek to be realistic and take seriously Robert Frost's poem, What 50 Said. When I was young, my teachers were the old. I gave up fire for form till I was cold. I suffered like a metal being cast. I went to school to age to learn the past. Now I am old, my teachers are the young. What can't be molded must be cracked and sprung. I strain at lessons fit to start a suture. I go to school to youth to learn the future. The lesson here is that at whatever age, we continue to learn if we have an open mind. And learning is the best medicine for deferring old age. I never dreamed that with 198 students at the time, Campbellsville Junior College would become a university of 3,500 students, or that I would serve on its board, or that a building would bear my name and another the name of my wife, or that a granddaughter would become a graduate, my son would become an administrator, and that would be cited with a Distinguished Alumni Award and an honorary degree. But irrespective of where you end up, my charge to you is to keep on learning so that you'll be prepared to accept that special opportunity when it comes your way. Above all, do something of which you'll be proud and which serves mankind, so that you will know with Edwin Markham that there is a destiny that makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. And don't quit living to the fullest at whatever age you find yourselves. Life isn't over till it's over. Keep your bucket list long and full. So in this spirit, I conclude with words from Alfred Lloyd Tennyson's Ulysses, as he spoke to his compatriots in his waning days to bolster their resolve, to encourage their persistence, and to reinforce his own desire to stay engaged. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Old age hath yet its honor and its toil. Some work of noble worth may yet be done. Come, my friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides, and though we're not that strength which in past years moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. May you find an open door besides every one that closes, and always with the spirit, attitude, and confidence that a successful outcome will occur because you're among the most sought-after graduates anywhere. And because the world steps aside to let those pass who know where they're going, let me be the first to get out of your way. Thank you.